where you don't have that with project work. The natural priming is not there from the process. And add to that the subconscious, the network of neurons is doing this 33,000 decisions. It processes it at 11 million bits per second, whereas the conscious mind processes at only 50 bits per second. And you can see that disparity is so big that project work, by definition, is just going to be a lot slower because you're changing. I should say change work, by definition, is going to be a lot slower. And then obviously you have to be flexible and creative. And then the project work, project management principles, they put structure around that. And then I would say agile went even further to operationalize project work. And then outcome, predictable, sustained performance, and achieve specific objectives. Stable team structure, stable and department-based, huge cross-functional. And I would say that if you are creating a project, you have some innovation going on, very, very important to set up a cross-functional team, not just to design the project, not just to work on the project, but also to roll it out. You want them involved in the change management, you want them involved in the early design, and just like user experience, the more you can design in, if it doesn't matter, design in based on how people like to talk. Use the same words. And one of the things that's interesting is when you look at documentation that has to do with change management, a lot of times you'll see it like, we no longer do it this way, we now do it that way. We no longer do this, we now that. This has moved from here to there. But you want to think about, yes, there's probably two documents there, or two sets of communication. One is for the existing people who knew the old process and have to start using the new one. But also there's the people who are coming in. There's going to be a lot more of them than the first category, because you'll be hiring and growing, et cetera, et cetera. And so you want to have communication that's laid out in a way that makes sense, because once you start talking about, we've done it this way and now we're changing to this, it gets confusing, it's adding more information, et cetera. We have leadership style, process control and optimization. I like talking about effectiveness first and then efficiency. Well, that's on the project side, vision driven and change oriented. Effective first and then it become efficient. But clarity has to be the bridge between those two. You want to make sure you have clarity as you go from effectiveness to efficiency, and then it's simplicity, right? So we want simplicity on the other side of complexity. Risk level, low to moderate, it's minimized. You have process, you have testing, there's lots of controls in place, you have contingency, you have buffers, all those are built in, and you have cross-trained people who can step in. Sometimes with project work, especially when it's first rolled out, you don't have redundancy yet because you don't have the cross-training. Higher, the risk level is obviously higher and has to be actively managed. So one of the big shifts, I think the project management, PMP folks, those in Agile, if you hire somebody with project management skills, you're going to get the lion's share of the work done. You know, if you look at the 80-20 rule, 80% of it is getting somebody with the right skills in place and then managing it from there. But what's missing is project leadership. So I make a distinction between project management versus project leadership. And it's just as you would expect. But you need somebody at the helm making the decisions, because if you look at the project triangle, and if we put quality in the middle, and then we have time, budget, and scope, somebody has to be at the helm making these decisions, because if we change the scope, one of these has to give. You either have to going to put more time in or more budget, but you can't always fix scope changes simply with more time.